So I have been working for months on a project that I will be able to share, just not quite yet. But I was selected to showcase a piece of my art somewhere, and I needed to come up with quite a few concepts to get them to approve. So I am working on, you saw the jellyfish, that was a concept that didn't work out. That I shared last week. And so this is another one that they didn't select, but that I loved. So the concept was a very calm ocean with a sunrise. And I am going to do this using the swipe technique. And I had the concept, I wanted to tape it off and do almost like a 3/4 water and sky. So I'm starting with the sky, and this is going to take place over multiple days. I wanted to let the top part dry so that I could tape off to get a crisp edge for the bottom. I decided to use this sky blue light, and it is actually a really perfect color for that beautiful color in the morning of the sky. I wanted to add as if the sun was coming up, and I chose an orange that I added a lot of white to, and a yellow that I added a lot of white to. I wanted it to be very bright and just a hint of the sun coming up over the horizon. I took a little bit of magenta as well and placed that there. And I didn't want to add too much to it. I didn't want it to be overpowering. I just wanted it to be kind of the essence of what you would see. Now I'm adding white through, and normally when I swipe with white, I don't add white, but these are going to be the clouds. And it's actually quite difficult with fluid paint to already have the concept in your mind of where you want things to go and where you want the placement to be. So I was really happy that this worked out the way it did. I am using that green tape, that is frog tape. I created a couple other paintings and I used a very thin blue painter's tape, and it did not create a crisp line at all. So if you are taping off some of your works, and you'll see a couple more coming up soon that I tape them off, frog tape is your best friend. It is so much better than the other tapes that I've tried. So I decided to add a little hint over in the corner of the magenta, and I'm actually so glad that I did. It added the perfect little extra part of kind of the sun that I wanted. I am really glad I added the white, even though I'm swiping with white, because the striations, as you'll see when I stretch this out, simulated the beautiful striations of clouds in the sky. It was just perfect. So now it's time to tilt this first part out, and I am just at this point keeping my fingers crossed. I had been working all day on paintings. I tried probably about 15 paintings before I actually got something that I started to like. So if you are struggling in your studio, please know that things do not always come out the first time. It takes practice, it takes learning from your happy accidents. I don't want to say mistakes because I'm learning from them, but it took a lot. But I was super excited about this one, but it was not the one that they chose, so that is okay. And it'll be a few months before you get to see the one that they did choose, and I'll be able to announce it. So not to be super secretive about it, but they've asked me not to share until they announce it. So now that this part is done, I took the tape off and I'm going to let it dry. And then the next day, I came in, or actually this was 2 or 3 days later, I came back in with more tape. And when you're taping things off like this, you have to remember which side of the tape you are using. Otherwise, you'll have just a strip of So after that is secured, I am going to come in and work on the bottom. And the bottom, I wanted the waves to be very calming and almost just looking out over them, and you can see that there's tiny little wave caps, but the ocean is very serene and gentle. I wanted to do it as a gradient, so I started with the lighter shades and worked my way back to the darker shades. And I'm using, again, that same sky blue light. I'm using turquoise green. I came in with a lighter blue that I mixed out of turquoise blue. And then I'm going to use a little bit of a phthalo blue. But I wanted this to be, again, more lighter colors. I wanted it to be very calming. I also wanted there to be a little bit of reflection in the water from the sky. So I added the magenta and then a little bit of that light orange and a little bit of the light yellow. And I really think that this really helped the painting and helped symbolize this abstract sunrise that I was doing. That light yellow was such a pretty yellow. I mixed it from azo yellow, medium, and white. So pretty. So again, for the waves, I'm adding in the white paint, just basically enough paint to cover the canvas. And now I'm going to do the same horizontal swipes across. And since I worked on so many of these landscape and seascape swipes over the past couple of months, I am actually going to add a tutorial to my swipe technique course of how to start this concept and how to bring it to fruition. So that should be out next month as well. So now getting up to this top portion, and it's really coming together for me, even though I haven't stretched out the bottom yet. You'll want to make sure you don't get anything on the dry portion at the top. And now it's just time for tilting. And I wanted to keep these lines as linear as I could. I wanted them to kind of mimic the sky. And I know the ocean has, little movement and waves, and I think I got that still out of the gradient of color that I used. So at this point, I thought I was done, and I forgot that I did not tilt to the other side. So I took the tape off, and when you're taking that tape off, you want to make sure that none of that extra paint drips on either side. And then I realized I didn't tilt to the other side. So I wanted to tilt vertical again, straight up and down, so that the paint would stay, so that the lines would stay horizontal, but that the paint would drip off the edge. I just had a little portion on the other side that I didn't like, so I wanted that to go over the edge. You can see the paint kind of making its way, creeping down there. This felt like an eternity. I was hoping that I didn't tilt any into the top portion of the sky. But once it hit the other corner and went over the side, this was done, and I was so happy. Oh my goodness, I am so happy with this one. I was able to recreate the sky effect. And it looks like those beautiful, just like striations of clouds. And then I think this is my favorite so far for the sunrise. The colors are phenomenal. You can see like the detail in there. It's got a little bit of reflection in the water. And then the waves ended up really, really pretty. And I kept them really straight, surprisingly. So I could not be happier with this one. Oh, love it. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Happy painting. Bye.